Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are doing my first 2024 House of Representatives election prediction. So, we have already got the safe districts filled in. We will first start out by going to the state of Alaska. Alaska, and here, let me get my thing. Alaska, I just do not see Alaska flipping anytime soon. Mary Peltola is the incumbent Democrat, and as far as we know, she could be there literally another 50 years. I mean, anything's really possible. I think she's going to win by lean. I don't think it's going to be likely like last time, because last time we had multiple Republicans on the ballot and they were all kind of splitting the vote amongst themselves, and then they were refusing to support each other for second place tallies. So that's why she ended up winning by 10 points. I think it was more like 9 point something. I think it was like 9.8 maybe, but anyway. Yeah, I think it's going to be lean. I think that with DeSantis or Trump on the ballot, well, I don't know if that really matters here, because Mike Dunleavy was on the ballot and got... No, never mind, that's not relevant. So, Arizona. Arizona. Okay. David Schweikert, dear gosh, this guy nearly lost back in 2022. We can already say back in 2022. Isn't that kind of funny? But yeah, it's I don't know, okay? I don't know. This guy literally could lose. I'll have to admit it. I think we're going to keep it as a tilt Republican hold. But Maricopa County, I'm pretty sure this district is in Maricopa County, right? I think it is. Yeah, this district being in Maricopa County, I think I think it's going to trend to the left, and we're going to see a flip come 2026, unless it's a red wave year. In 2026, then Schweikert might hold on. But in 2024, this district is likely going to be a bear hold for David Schweikert if DeSantis is on the ballot. That's only if DeSantis is on the ballot. If Trump is on the ballot, he's probably going to lose Arizona by like a lean margin or something. Possibly, honestly, I don't know, tilt. But either way, Schweikert will probably lose if Trump is on the ballot. If DeSantis is on the ballot, I would anticipate DeSantis being able to win in 2024 in the state of Arizona, and so I see David Schweikert holding on in that scenario. Eli Crane, obviously not much to talk about there. That's a likely Republican hold. Juan Cisco-Maney, which district is Cisco-Maney's there? Okay. Yeah, I don't think Cisco-Maney has any reason to worry. I think it's still probably lean, if not likely. Yeah. Probably like a 3 to 4 point win for Juan Cisco-Maney. California, we got stuff to talk about. Kevin Kiley easily wins re-election by nearly a safe margin, if not a likely margin. We will keep it at likely for now to be safe. Josh Harder probably wins by safe. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. John Duarte, probably not going to win re-election. I'll just be honest. He barely won during a midterm year. And, I don't know. I mean, I feel like that with lower turnout, it made sense for Duarte to be able to pull off the upset in 2022. But in 2024, it's going to be like a situation with, let's say, Mike Garcia there. Sorry, I was blanking for a moment. Mike Garcia. Mike Garcia won the special election by nearly 10 points and then proceeded to win by 333 votes in the regular election in 2020. So, like, that really does go to show when you have the presidential election happening the exact same year, then it's going to be hard for you to be able to maintain those same margins. And in this case, I think it's going to be very hard for Duarte to be able to hold on. Now, he could end up being an electoral juggernaut like David Valadao, who always overperforms and somehow managed to win 2022. Don't ask me how he managed to do that. Um, but he could end up being like a Mike Garcia. I mean, I don't really know. It's really too early to tell yet, but from what I'm seeing right now, John Duarte is looking to be a guy who just kind of lucked out and managing to pull it off in 2022. So I am not going to say he's really favored to win re-election. Jim Costa's seat. It's interesting that his seat was closer this time. I think during a presidential election year it'll be safe. David Valadao, probably lean if not tilt. I think Valadao is going to keep holding on. After we saw him win by 3 points this time around, I mean, granted, he was against a terrible opponent who, like, refused to debate and everything. We get that. But at the same time, yeah, he's kind of a juggernaut. I don't know how he managed to win after losing all the Republican base, but I guess California Republicans still like him, so, yeah. Julia Brownlee probably wins by safe. Mike Garcia is not winning by a likely margin again. Sorry, but he's not. He's probably going to win by a lean margin, is my guess. Probably by like a point, I would say. Also, I mean, if he's running against the abomination that is Christy Smith, actually, that's really mean. I regret having said that. I shouldn't have said that. If he's running against the all-time loser that is Christy Smith, again, then it could actually be that again. Because Christy Smith, horrible, horrible candidate. And she lost by 6.4. I mean, that's insane. In like a Biden plus 12 district, that's you are pathetic if you can't win a Biden plus 12 district. But I think it's going to be lean because presidential election year, so. Ken Calvert, we obviously don't have to worry about young Kim anymore. She's safe. That district's done. Ken Calvert, he outperformed Trump this year. I think that with DeSantis having appeal to... I don't know how many of these districts are Latino, but I do know there are a number of districts that are. I think he's going to win by likely. Michelle Steele probably also wins by likely. She was able to win by 4.8 this year. I think these districts are all trending pretty decently to the right. Katie Porter's district. Now, here's an interesting one. We learned just today, or, I mean, it's going to be a few days from when I upload this video. We'll say this week. You get the point. She's retiring to run for U.S. Senate. I think that's pretty interesting. I don't know if this district is going to be flippable. I think I'm going to drop it down to tilt. I had it as lean earlier before I made this video. But I think we're going to drop it down to tilt because it's barely a Democratic district. And she did underperform this year. But honestly, it's probably a good job getting her out of the way for Democrats. Because with some of the allegations that have come out against her, with like how she treats her staff and everything, like I'm not really sure she's a very good candidate to keep running anyhow. Mike Levin's not winning by likely again. Well, I mean he could. Nah, we'll say he wins by likely. Okay, sorry, this is taking way too long. We're next going to start looking at the state of Colorado. Colorado, yes, we start off with Boebert's district, and I will say this, I think there are three main factors that contributed to how close this race was in 2022. One, I think Joe O'Dea really did have a bad down ballot effect on most Republican candidates in the state of Colorado. Colorado's 7th was expected to be a close race, and it ended up being D plus 15. Yadira Carvey was supposed to lose to Barbara Kirkmeyer, and she ended up winning barely, but she still won. And then, of course, Lauren Boebert's district, which was supposed to be safe, ended up being 0.2% Republican. So, I think that's the main factor. I think O'Dea really did drag down Boebert, and the rurals just simply did not turn out for him, which makes a lot of sense because, he's considered a more Rhino-esque kind of Republican. We also do have to consider, though, the fact that Boebert is a pretty polarizing figure, though, and she's not going to be in a safe race no matter when she runs. It's just not going to work for her. Also, I think the district might be trending a little bit to the left based off of the fact Colorado is trending largely to the left. I think Colorado is going to seriously be the next California, if I'm being completely honest. I think Colorado will probably be like D plus 20 pretty soon. It was already really close to that on the governor's level, so I think it's legitimately fair to assume that that's going to happen. But with all this in mind, I think with rurals turning out more for DeSantis or Trump, probably DeSantis in 2022, I think we're going to give this district to Lauren Boebert by a lean margin. Colorado's 7th, I'm not sure we really need to touch on that district too much. It was safe this year. I think it could be likely next year, depending on if DeSantis does better in Colorado than Joe O'Dea did. But again, Colorado shifting to the left. I'm not sure this is going to help. Yadira Caraveo's district. I don't know so much about this one. I think she's still probably slightly favored at the end of the day. I do think she's probably favored just based on the partisan lean of the state. Although with DeSantis on the ballot, I think this is a more suburban district, so we might actually just barely give this to the Republicans. But I'm not sure if we can assume that as of yet. So yeah, it's really a toss up, I would say. If it's lean, it's lean by 1 point. We'll compromise and put it at tilt D. We're going to look at the state of Connecticut next. Connecticut swung to the right in 2022, which was very interesting to see. Of course, Jahana Hayes nearly lost to George Logan. It was a very close race. I don't see it being that close for her again. I mean, it was interesting, though, to see, like, Leora Levy nearly winning. Not nearly winning, but the fact that Leora Levy was able to make it a 15-point win for Blumenthal when it should have been a 20-point win, because she was a terrible candidate. Let's not forget that. So the fact that Leora Levy was able to do that, Leora Levy, however you say it, the fact that she was able to do that does in fact show that the state is somewhat shifting towards the right just slightly. But I'm not sure we can really assume that just yet, so I am going to leave this district with the Democrats by at least a lean margin. It's probably not going to be the tilt margin that it was this time. Florida. Darren Soto's district is probably legitimately trending right after the fact that it was 17.4. I think it's going to trend even further right. I think DeSantis is going to sweep Florida pretty easily for the presidential contest. I think it really does depend, however, on how much of a red state Florida is. But either way, Soto is going to get in trouble pretty soon. Anna Paulina Luna, her district, probably safe at this point, honestly. Not too much really to say there. Jared Moskowitz, we're going to keep that as lean Democratic, but I think the state of Florida overall is going to shift vastly to the right from what it looked like in 2020. So I think there is going to be significant shifts in the direction of the Republicans. Georgia's Sanford's Bishop's district. I mean, we all know Georgia's trending to the left. So, I mean, why even make this district competitive anymore? Just why? Idaho, we don't have anything. Illinois. Oh boy, Illinois. Sean Casten's district, probably lean. The Chicago suburbs DeSantis should do better there. So we are going to make those two districts likely. If I said lean earlier, that's my fault. Eric Sorensen, he was kind of a lousy candidate from everything I've heard about him in 2022. I would say this guy probably doesn't win re-election, however. Indiana's first. It was 5.7 for Frank J. Mervan. I am tempted to say that Mervan actually ends up being, you know what, this is still likely. And the reason why it's still likely, this is still a blue area up here. I never thought it was going to flip. I thought Jennifer Ruth Green had a shot, but I didn't think it was really going to flip in 2022. I was right. That was one thing I was right on. I know I sucked at everything else, but I was right on that. But anyway, Mervan, yeah, I think his seat probably is a hold. Especially considering Todd Young managed to somehow win in 2022 by a margin of nearly 21 percentage points. I mean, the fact he almost won by 21, like, DeSantis is not going to be able to win Indiana by that much. Like, so it shifted to the right as far as it possibly could. I just don't see this district getting any closer anytime soon. Iowa, DeSantis will do just fine in Iowa, just fine. I would say Ashley Inson's district takes another swing to the right. Marionette Miller Meek's district, still likely. Zach Nunn wins re-election by a lean margin. Okay. Kansas. That's the last time I will ever say Sharice David's district is competitive. Woohoo! Okay. Maine. Jared Golden is easily winning this race. I'm done saying this race is even remotely. Okay, it is remotely competitive, but it's not competitive enough to where Golden is going to lose. The man's an electoral juggernaut. Just face it. He can't lose, guys. He can't. He can't even when Trump's on the ballot, for crying out loud. We saw that in 2020. What more evidence do you need? He can't lose. Okay. Maryland. David Trone's seat was somehow 7.1 when it was supposed to be way closer. I will say that this district likely remains in the likely column. I don't see DeSantis having any real down ballot effects here. Michigan. Oh boy. Alyssa Slotkin is almost certainly going to run for the United States Senate. We don't know exactly yet if she is going to do that. But I think it's safe to say that, yeah, she is probably going to. And so with that, I think that with DeSantis being on the ballot, Michigan, I know DeSantis doesn't have the Rust Belt appeal Trump does, but with all things considered, Michigan is going to be way, way closer than it was in 2022. I mean, we had D plus 10. Like, Tudor Dixon lost by 10, and then DePerna lost by, I think it was 9 or something. Like, I mean, it was a way too blue of a state in 2020, and she's still 2022, and she still only won by 5.4%. So I think this district is extremely flippable, in my opinion. John James's seat is going to be likely this time. I don't know why he underperformed. I will never understand that. But again, it's really just because of the fact that the entire state was way, way bluer than it really should have been. Minnesota, this district is gone. It like swung left. Angie Craig always underperforms though, so we might have to put that as lean. Montana. This is an interesting one. Ryan Zink is the incumbent in Montana's first, and this is the closer district of the two in Montana currently. Ryan Zink legitimately, I'm not going to say he's going to lose, but Tester is on the ballot. Let's not forget about Tester. Tester always manages to outperform. So is it possible that, like, heck, we even saw this in 2018. We saw that the House race in 2018, which was won by Greg Gianforte, we saw that House race in 2018 for the at-large seat was like, what was it, like R+5 when it should have been way closer? I mean, way more comfortable. I mean, look, this district could legitimately be a flip. So I'm going to keep it as lean, okay? I think there's a possibility this is tilt. I think if Zink gets primaried, then this could be a likely district, but this is by no means a safe district. I think that with what happened in 2018, what we saw with the district being closer, I think there is a shot that this district does, in fact, remain close. Nebraska, Don Bacon is still pretty popular in his district. I was dumb to say he was going to win by a likely margin when he won by 2.7. It was an underperformance. I know, I've heard about that being an underperformance. But when Real American says, you know what, Don Bacon's screwed, I just can't believe him. I'm sorry. He's popular in his district. I don't see him losing just yet. I really don't. Oh, wait, what? No. Okay. Nevada. I see all these districts being closer than they did before. DeSantis is going to have huge appeal in Nevada, and he will narrowly, just barely carry this state. So Dina Titus, her district is going to be lean. Susie Lee's district is going to be tilt. And Stephen Horsford's district is going to be lean as well. Or tilt, actually. We'll make both those districts tilt. I think DeSantis is going to have an extremely good down-ballot effect in all of these Nevada seats. And thus, as a result, we are going to see these districts being a lot closer than they were in 2022. I think they are all pretty narrowly Democratic, but still Democratic. So, because he is going to shift the state far enough to the right to where these down-ballot effects will occur. New Hampshire, I'm done pretending this district is even competitive. New Hampshire took such a swing to the left in 2020, and now it votes for Chris Pappas by like 8 points. Like, what? I can't envision that being a loss. Tom Keene easily wins. Easily wins. And Republicans get to keep their third seat in the state of New Jersey. New Mexico, Gabriel Vasquez probably going to win re-election. This district, you know what, honestly, assuming that these down-ballot effects work this way, I could see Yvette Harrell somehow reclaim her seat. Ron DeSantis is going to do good in New Mexico in 2024, excuse me. I think he is. I think he's going to help all these races become closer. And so, actually, assuming DeSantis is on the ballot, I will flip this race and give it back to Yvette Herrell, as she is running again for this seat. She has already filed the paperwork to run for this seat. I could very well be wrong. I could be crazy, but I'm assuming a lot with these down ballot effects. Okay, there are a lot of competitive seats um, in the state of New York. George Santos district, automatic flip. Tom Suozzi easily regains his seat by 5 or more. Anthony Despacito's seat, I would say it's lean D as of right now. Despacito could easily become another David Valadao and win somehow by a narrow margin, despite the fact the district votes by like 10. Now, you know what? I do think that New York could be trending slightly to the right, but I don't think that's going to be enough for these seats to remain in Republican hands. I just don't. Michael Lawler probably loses. Pat Ryan probably wins. Mark Molinaro, however, I will give him the win and say that he does pull off his re-election bid. That's a more upstate New York district. That should be one that they are able to pull off in the end. Paul Tonko C, that's safe. There shouldn't be anything competitive about that. Brandon Williams. Tiltar. We'll say Tiltar. I'm looking for the state to shift back. Like it was Schumer plus 14 this year, right? Like that's about how it was down ballot for the Senate race. So we will say that this becomes, let's say like our D plus 19. So with that in mind, a lot of these districts are going to shift back significantly. There is incumbency advantage, though, so I think he does still somehow hold on. But Michael Lawler probably doesn't have... it's going to vary by district. We'll just put it that way. Joseph Morell's district, I don't know why that was somewhat competitive. We'll keep it as likely, I guess. Well, you know what? We'll put that back as safe. That's the biggest state right there, is New York. North Carolina. Gosh, this is looking intense. Don Davis probably wins by likely. Kathy Manning probably wins by safe. I don't know, though. I mean, how well is DeSantis going to do in 2024 in the state of North Carolina? Like, how do we really know? Chuck Edwards' district should never have been competitive in 2022. I don't know why it was. I think Ted Budd was expected to do better, and so that's partly why it worked out like that. Wiley Nichols' district, though, I'm not sure he's going to hold on. I think if Bo Hines is the nominee again, he could very well hold on. And you know what? Since Bo Hines is the only one who's filed for a rematch, I'm going to say he does hold on and be fair. Ohio. We got a few interesting seats in Ohio. First, we have Greg Landsman's new seat. This seat flipped to him in 2022, even though many people thought Chabot was going to win re-election. Chabot could actually make a comeback like he did, I believe, in 2010 it was. He made a comeback. He ran for election to another non-consecutive term and defeated the guy who defeated him before. I'm not sure that's going to happen again. I think this district remains lean because I think Ohio is going to shift back towards Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis on the federal level. I know for the statewide level, like the governorships and such, were pretty red all around. But J.D. Vance only won by 6.5. I think that if Trump or DeSantis, probably DeSantis, wins the state by 9 points or so, and we shift it back a couple points, then this district is going to be way closer. Marcy Kaptur's district, I'm not ruling this out. This is going to be competitive, okay, guys? It's going to be. Kaptur is not an electoral juggernaut. She was running against a guy who had no funding whatsoever because the RNC screwed him over. Um, yeah, he was just basically a no-name. He was like, I got Trump's endorsement, and then he won the primary. And then he proceeded to run around yelling, I got Trump's endorsement, and Kaptur is a weak establishment politician. Loses by 13. Okay? I mean, I think it's going to be closer. If Republicans nominate somebody good, they could actually win this seat. But I am not going to say this district is going to be 13 again, okay? It's just not. It's just not. Plus, Majewski had the so-called scandals and stuff. I'm not sure to what extent those were actually true, but we do know that he had those scandals, and so that really dragged him down too. Plus the fact he got screwed over by the RNC. So everything made that a 13-point win for Kaptur. That should not be a 13-point win for her in 2024. Amelia Sykes' district, I've heard terrible things about Madison Gisiato, so I'm going to give this to Republicans. I think it will swing back in their favor because of the down ballot effects. Sorry, a lot of this video is down ballot effects. Val Hoyle probably wins by likely. Lori Chavez DeRemer, I'm sorry. She won because she was running against a weak opponent. I think we see her lose. Andrea Salinas probably wins by a lean margin. The fact she did that terrible in a plus 13 state, I mean, geez. Okay. Pennsylvania. Wow, this is a close map. Pennsylvania. Brian Fitzpatrick, safe. No questions asked. Susan Wild. Really does depend on DeSantis' Rust Belt appeal in this one. I would have to say she narrowly loses. She only won by 1.8. She had a really close election. Matt Cartwright, that was also a pretty close election, but he still won in a Trump plus 2.9 seat. So I'm going to say this is tilt D because he is an extreme overperformer. He always does manage to overperform and win, even though Trump or DeSantis is on the ballot. He always manages to do it. Don't ask me how. Scott Perry, he's more divisive, so we're going to put it at likely, possibly lean if people start hating on him for voting against McCarthy for Speaker. Krista Luzio's district, this district is going to swing back to the right and is going to be lean, but it won't be enough to flip it. So we get one flip out of Pennsylvania for the Republicans. Rhode Island, this district is likely. Alan Fung was the only reason it was close. It's not going to be likely again. I mean, it's not going to be lean again like it was before. It's like 3.6. Yeah, it's not going to be that again. Tennessee, okay, we have nothing. There was that one district. That was safe. I told you it was going to be safe. The one district where Andy Ogles was running, I told you it was going to be safe. Everybody said, oh, the district is competitive. And I said, nope. And it turned out to be right. So, ha. Monica De La Cruz probably wins by safe, honestly. DeSantis is going to do great in Texas. Just watch. Just watch. Vicente Gonzalez, his district probably remains likely. I would say Latinos in his district are going to heavily favor DeSantis, and there is going to be some cross-voting, but it's not going to be enough for Gonzalez to lose. If that even made sense. Did that even make sense? I'm not even sure that made sense. Elaine Luria, Jen Kiggins' district, that is lean. Abigail Spanberger. Gosh, what to do about this? Lean. Jennifer Wexton's district, safe. Because the only reason it was close was because of Hung Kao. Washington. Oh boy. Oh, by the way, Republicans got the majority, so. Washington. Marie Perez, assuming she goes up against Joe Kent, she would win again. Assuming. I think she won on a fluke this time. I don't think this district is trending to the left, honestly. I agree with Real American on that. I'm going to put this as tilt. I think Republicans are favored to win it, but I think Joe Kent will probably not end up winning the blanket primary. We maybe get what's-her-face, Jamie Herrera Butler running again. That could very well fuel that. I'll put this district as likely right here. So Republicans do make a gain in the state of Washington. In the state of Wisconsin, Brian Steele's district is going to be closer because he's probably going to run for Senate. Derek Van Orden's district is going to be likely because Republicans are going to turn out way more. I'm telling you, we had a Rust Belt problem in 2022, which is why so many of these seats were way closer. Like in Michigan, Pennsylvania, there weren't any flips for Republicans. There was like the one flip in Wisconsin, and it was closer than I thought. So, all things considered, those districts should both be likely. And that's it. That's all I gotta say here. This is the final map. We are looking at the same exact numbers that we've had before. No seat change. Republicans still at 222, Democrats at 213 still. And that is my prediction. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys later.